Good evening, welcome to Brass Tacks. I'm Zakka Jacob. At a time when the Aam Aadmi is struggling in the national capital to get a bed, an ICU bed, an oxygen bed, any hospital bed, the Aam Aadmi Party government's move to reserve 100 beds and convert the luxury Ashoka hotel into a hospital for judges of the Delhi High Court has upset and outraged a lot of people. But today, there was a twist in the tale, with the High Court saying we never asked for it in the first place. So why did the AAP government do this, only to embarrass itself? That's coming right up, but first, the story. So 5-star COVID care at a time when the common man is running from pillar to post for a hospital bed. Here's what the Delhi High Court said to the Aam Aadmi Party government in the national capital. It said that it is beyond thinking that at a time such as this, we will ask for a luxury facility such as this. It went on to further chastise the AAP government by saying, people don't have hospital beds, how can we ask for such luxury at such a time? The perception is that it is we who asked you for this, or you did this to appease us. This is what the Delhi High Court told the Delhi government's council today. Our confidence in this government is shaken. That is as bad as it gets. Goes on to say that you better withdraw these orders immediately or we will be forced to quash them. So what exactly happened here? A, it is tone deaf to have done this move at a time when everybody knows what the situation in the national capital is. And B, if the High Court itself did not ask for it in the first place, why go to such lengths to do this move, which has turned out to be rather counterproductive? Joining us on the talking point, Vikas Singh is president of the Supreme Court Bar Association and senior Supreme Court advocate. Swapnil Kothari, senior lawyer, joining us from Mumbai. Professor D.K. Giri, political analyst, joining us as well. And Gopal Krishna Agarwal will be joining us as well. He's a BJP spokesperson. D.K. Giri, Saab, I'll start with you. You know, this is like saying, you know, the Aam Aadmi Party government rolled out the red carpet, but the people who the carpet was rolled out for did not want it in the first place. Unhe to chahiye nahi tha.
Well, Jaka, good evening. When you say Aam Aadmi Party government, I think it would be politically incorrect. Let us decode the Delhi government. As per the latest bill in the parliament, the LG is the de facto head of the government. So it is a Delhi government, it is a hybrid government consisting of the representative of the centre as well as Aam Aadmi Party. And the primacy of executive decision lies with the Lieutenant Governor. For the mess that Delhi has...
Sir, this order was made public by the lawyer representing the Delhi government, not the lawyer representing the LG.
That's right.
The lawyer appointed by the Aam Aadmi Party government is the one who made this public.
Jaka, that's what I'm trying to correct you.
This is all false that the AAP government plays in the...
No, let him answer. Let him answer.
Let him answer. The LG is the de facto head of the government. And secondly, people are forgetting. What people are forgetting, look at the bill, sir. When your turn comes, you can rebut me. But look at the people are missing. Ashoka Hotel is run by the central government Ministry of Tourism. How could Delhi government book rooms in Ashoka Hotel without stating their purpose? And if they stated it, how was it allowed?
Sir, this was not an order signed by a secretary in the Ministry of Culture. This was an order signed by a Delhi government official, made public by the lawyer appointed by the Delhi government, the counsel who appears for the Delhi government in the Delhi High Court.
The hotel does not belong to Delhi government. That is all I'm saying.
So what?
Ashoka Hotel belongs to central government.
Okay, Gopal Agarwal respond. Ashoka Hotel does not respond. Ashoka Hotel does not belong to the Delhi government. How could they have made this order?
So if they book in Taj Mahal Hotel, then the Tatas are responsible for that. This is
No,
the way they
Taj Mahal
talk,
Hotel, it is
and
a government
governments they
hotel,
know.
come on.
Well, they are making
Make some
utter
sense. Make some sense.
Fool of the governance in Delhi. He is saying that the LG is responsible. LG has a power to overturn or review the decisions of the Delhi government. He doesn't
You have
decide
not
on the
read the bill.
administrative
You have
issues.
not read the bill. You have
No,
not
no,
read
forget
the
I
about
have
the bill.
read,
One,
sir.
one second,
I
sir.
have
Sir,
very
this
well
debate
read.
is not about the bill.
I'll read it
This
out
debate
to you.
is not
I'll read
about
it
the
out
bill.
to you.
This debate is about
but he's
at a
taking
time
it
when
clear
Delhi,
cut.
at a time when
He
Delhi
is
is
quoting it
suffering,
wrong.
and every one of us, four of us on this panel, every one of us knows somebody or the other who's been running for a hospital bed or an oxygen bed or a ventilator in Delhi just in the last week. So go on, Gopal Krishna Agarwal, make your point, and I need to go to
the
Vikas Singh after this. Yeah.
thing is important is that when this whole thing was put, when there is a case going on in the High Court, at that time, are they trying to bribe the judiciary? They try to influence media. They are trying to influence social media, create a narration, coming out with false narration. And now, when the judiciary has passed strict strictures on them, they today try to influence this judiciary. This is the way they want to work.
Okay.
And what they are doing, what the people today,
casting aspersions on
Arvind
judiciary.
Kejriwal
You are
came out
casting
with
No, one
several
second, sir.
announcements.
DK Giri, sir, one second. Let him finish. Let me also go to Vikas Singh and ask him.
No, let me finish, Zakka.
One
Just 10 more
one
seconds.
simple question. One simple question is, and I think the court is right today, Vikas Singh, when it says, you know, the perception that has gone out to the people is we asked for this order, and the court has made it clear that they did not. But I want to talk to you about something, you know, a larger question. How tone deaf is it that lawyers or judges, you know, have special facilities or government makes special facilities for them at a time when the common man in Delhi, no matter how rich you are, how influential you are, you know, how many people you know, and everybody knows in Delhi this janta hai mera baap kaun hai attitude, and despite all of that, people are not able to find a bed. So how tone deaf was this move?
Well, Zakka, I must tell you something very interesting. As president of the bar, Supreme Court bar, we have about 15,000 members. And every day I'm struggling to get a bed in spite of my knowing large number of these hospital, heads and, these owners of these hospitals.
Exactly.
And I'm struggling to get beds for my members. So yesterday we had a meeting with the Chief Justice of India because there is one building which is lying vacant in Supreme Court, which was meant for chambers. So we thought we'll convert it into a COVID care center. So we had a meeting and the Chief Justice of India agreed. He said, yes, why not? If in principle, there is no problem. If you can set up a hospital there is no difficulty. So we made a request to the Delhi government. Now today that same Geeta Grover came to Supreme Court to inspect that building. And after inspecting the building, she gave a list of what all beds we have to buy and, equipments we have to bring in and doctors we have to bring in. So the Delhi government is not ready to do anything for us. They say, if you want to set up a facility, we are telling you this is a list, buy all this, get all this, start your own facility. I can understand that. To say that if I want my own facility for my people, you say that you buy your own stuff, you buy your own, get your own doctors and start your own facility. That's something which is understandable. But to use public money for the purposes of reserving a five-star hotel, and they are not correct in saying that Ashoka is a Government of India property. Ashoka may be a Government of India property, but it is within the city of Delhi.
Exactly.
And the district magistrate will have powers under the Disaster Management Act to direct the Ashoka Hotel to provide facilities under the Disaster Management. So it's not that it's a central property. So to say that public money will be spent for the purposes of preferential treatment to somebody is something which is rightly the High Court said that we never asked for it. Why do you try to embarrass them by saying that we are providing this facility?
It is not Zakka, it is not embarrassment. It is a clear-cut influential.
Okay, one at a time, please. One at a time.
The Geeta Grover order starts on a premise that this application had been made. Now, who made this application and for whom?
Exactly.
And why this order was passed? Why can't a similar order be passed by for the Supreme Court staff and the Supreme Court lawyers? There, the standard is different. So, I personally feel that this is something which is not acceptable at all in our system.
No, so here's the thing. Just extending what Vikas Singh was saying, Swapnil Kothari, today, the Chief Minister came and he said, I want to thank the central government for the ITBP facility. Then we've got this other facility which the central government has done. Basically, all the emergency war footing stuff that's happened in Delhi in the last 2 weeks since this second wave just blew up seems to have been done by the central government. So what is the Delhi government doing then?
And all the equipment, etc., have been brought by the central government from France.
Swapnil Kothari.
Yeah, Zakka, your answer is as good as mine, or your guess is as good as mine. If Delhi government is just trying to take the brownie points for something which it has not done. Now, if you read Geeta Grover's notification of 25th of April, in that, she's mentioned all those whereas the way we, start our notifications with and then we pass the order if you are a government official. And then she says, whereas there is a request from the Delhi High Court to provide facilities, which is, there may have been a request, but there was no request for Ashoka Hotel. So according to me, the Delhi government, whether it's through the Lieutenant General or whatever, it's the Delhi government, and whoever is in the power is responsible for this sort of an order. And it, it may be completely innocuous where she says, these are High Court judges, let me give them a 5-star facility. Or it could be something, as Mr. Agarwal pointed out, that somewhere to placate the Delhi High Court and try to, gain some brownie points with them. Be that as it may, the High Court has rightfully come out today and rapped the government on its knuckles and said that if you are not going to quash this or withdraw this, and we are going to quash it, and before quashing it, they are right in, following the procedure and sending a, notice to Geeta Grover, and she'll have some tough time explaining this. And, I have noticed this in Delhi, and not, any different from Mumbai in certain aspects where, people try to take for something which they have not done. So this is something where political expediency takes advantage over pandemic problems.
That's exactly what has happened. This is political expediency over the pandemic and pandemic priorities. What is astounding for me, DK Giri Sahab, and I'm coming back to you, is, the name of this party is Aam Aadmi. Aam Aadmi is central to this party and to this government. And here is a move, no matter, it'll be a matter of investigation who was responsible for it. Was it, a lawyer appointed by the Delhi government? Was it an SDM? Was it Ministry of Culture, Tourism? Whatever it is, let that be a matter of the investigation. But at the heart of it, this move smacks of VVIP racism. Basically, judges get 5-star hotel treatment. Aam Aadmi runs from pillar to post. How can a government and a party which has Aam Aadmi in its name brook a decision which is inherently discriminatory?
Zakka, that's my point. You are picking on the wrong person. It is not Aam Aadmi Party's decision alone. Why are you not, the constitutional head is the Lieutenant Governor. Why are you not challenging or demanding his sacking?
Sir, let me ask him a simple question. Let me ask you a simple question. In this notification, sir, in this notification, is there a signature from anybody in the LG's office? Is there a signature from the LG himself? Is there? No. So for all that you say that it's a hybrid government, LG is the boss and all that, then let Mr. Kejriwal come out and say, I don't want to contest elections. I don't want to be chief minister. Let him say that, na? If you are saying it's a hybrid government, let him say, I have no powers. I'm a Naam ke Vaste chief minister. I'll give up the seat. Why doesn't he do that?
Why is taking credit for all the things that he is announcing?
DK Giri.
He should say no.
No, sir. One second. DK Giri. 1 second. I'm coming to you. But DK Giri, answer the question. DK Giri.
Okay, Zakka, you see, I looked at the law today about the National Capital Territory Government law. So the Aam Aadmi Party cannot, or Kejriwal cannot take any decision without consulting the Lieutenant Governor. That is the new law. If Lieutenant Governor was not consulted,
they seem to have taken this decision. This decision they took without consulting anybody, only for the High Court to pull them up. Anyway, Gopal Agarwal, and then I go back to Vikas Singh after that. Gopal Agarwal. No. For me, the moot of the problem is this. The moot of the problem is that even last, I think it was June, July, in fact, in Delhi, when the cases exploded, who came to the rescue? Eventually, it was left to the Home Minister to come and start that ITBP facility. And then the Radha Swamy facility. This is turning out to be a bit of a pattern where, and nobody is saying that these are not extraordinary times. These are unbelievably extraordinary times. And yes, I'm sure the Delhi government is doing a lot. But when it comes to the crux, when it comes to the crunch, finally the centre has to step in. Last July, June, July they did that, and now again they're doing that. Gopal Agarwal. Gopal
thing
Agarwal.
is that Delhi government is completely, how much amount they are spending in advertisements, how much they are doing, what they did in last 1 year when their crisis blew up in Delhi. Arvind Kejriwal came on the social media, and Manish Sisodia, they all came and said, give us this, give us oxygen. What the High Court said, that when the central government has allocated, don't expect that the oxygen will come to your doorstep. No nodal officer was responding. And then suddenly the things improved when the central government announced so many initiatives. Now today, that time he says that I am doing this, I am doing for Delhi, I am doing this. And when this order which falls on his face, Arvind Kejriwal's face, he's saying, no, it is an LG's decision. Whatever, does it think people are fools in Delhi? The crisis is blown. You are just going in everywhere.
They are certainly.
I'm fed up by
Giri Saab, one
seeing
second.
it
Let Gopal Krishna Agarwal finish,
Yeah,
please. Yeah.
I am fed up, and everybody is fed up with seeing Arvind Kejriwal's face day and night on the television, and how much amount he is spending on advertisement. What he is
And
teaching,
the Prime Minister's
same thing.
certificate on the vaccination.
No,
Prime
what he has
Minister's
done,
photo on the
the
vaccination
amount
certificate.
he could
Why
have
didn't you say that?
opened
Sir,
up-
1 second. Sir, please. Sir, 1 second.
if he had opened up any oxygen plant in any of the hospital, you see what Inox said, that we have not been given even a plan which hospital we have to distribute. How do we do it?
Let me
And today when the Zakka, just 10 seconds.
Okay, 10 seconds.
Second more.
10 seconds, yeah, 10 seconds, because Vikas Singh will
when
go at
the
9:15.
High
Yeah.
Court, when the High Court is passing strong strictures against the Delhi government, today they tried to influence it. And yesterday, day before yesterday, High Court has passed strong strictures on the functioning of Delhi government. And today, Delhi government goes there and tries to influence. And it's
Okay, you made that point.
bribe,
No, let me go to Vikas
gratification.
Singh. No, let me go to Vikas Singh, because I find again an interesting pattern here, Mr. Singh. Last week there was a major crisis for oxygen in Delhi. Nobody is denying that. In fact, hospitals had to knock on the doors of the High Court for eventually oxygen to be arranged. The central government is getting these oxygen express trains going. The IAF is airlifting, cryogenic cylinders from different parts. US is sending oxygen concentrators. Thailand is sending. France is sending. All of these are admittedly have to happen with the central government's knowledge and the central government's initiative, because at the end of the day, the Indian Air Force is bringing all of this, or Air India is bringing this. And yet the Delhi Chief Minister comes on TV and says, "Humne France se ye kiya hai, humne Thailand se ye laya hai," and all that. After the crisis, at least the worst part of the crisis, hopefully has passed. What does this say to you, sir? At a time when the most difficult hour, when people are looking for leadership, he's saying this is not, I can't help it on my own. It has to be done by the central government. Central government comes in and steps in and does its 2 bits. Then Mr. Kejriwal comes back and says, "Oh, by the way, I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I'm doing this and I'm doing that." It just singularly tells me that it's a lack of leadership, or it is opportunistic leadership. When the going is tough, stay behind. When the going is relatively better, come back into the limelight. Mr. Vikas Singh.
Well, Zakka, to be fair to the problem that we are facing today, the WHO, as early as in April 2020, had said that this kind of a pandemic, for this kind of a pandemic, to control this kind of a pandemic, you have to prepare for an oxygen surge. And when they said oxygen surge, they meant that whenever there is a recurrence of this pandemic or there is a second wave, you should be ready with sufficient infrastructure or manufacturing capability to bring in extra oxygen. So that is something which the central government should have done. The other thing which the central government should have done was to vaccinate our people rather than sending vaccines abroad. I mean, we have been sending vaccines all over the world as if the problem in our country is over, and not vaccinated our people. So we are today at 8-9% in our country, whereas the global average is 13%, and countries like UK and US have vaccinated more than 60% of their population. So I will not blame the Kejriwal government for this lack of planning. That is a more of a planning failure by the central government, because it should not have. I had actually mentioned on the 3rd of March when the matter was being considered by the Delhi High Court on vaccination. I said, please stop the export of vaccine for the time being.
Yeah.
And the High Court was agreeable with me. It was the same bench of Justice Vipin Sami. He was agreeable, but the central government opposed vehemently. No, if there are international obligations. Now, if you have decided to vaccinate the world and not your own people, and if this pandemic is actually as a result of the less amount of vaccination in this country, you can't blame everything on the Kejriwal government. Kejriwal government also is to blame. I'm not saying they are not to blame. They should have actually ramped up the infrastructure with regard to bed availability, and also for providing for more of ICUs in this 1 year, because this pandemic came last year, more than a year back it came.
Exactly.
So they could have easily provided for more. That was something clearly within the responsibility of the state government. So it's a complete failure by the central government as well as the state government. It can't be said that only the state government is to blame.
Swapnil Kothari, I think that's a fair point that Vikas has made. I mean, now in hindsight, we can clearly say that the 65 million vaccines that were exported, I mean, had they been kept for our people, that would have been 65 million more people who would have been vaccinated by now.
Zakka, that's, in hindsight, everybody is an Einstein, but, at that time, if the center thought that this was a particular way of going about it and there were international obligations, one would have been a little bit more circumspect in sending 65 million vaccines. Maybe 30 million should have been sent or 15 million should have been sent. We did not expect that such a second wave would come. So, it's very difficult to now say that they should have done that. I agree,
No, but sir, just to play devil's advocate, look at the USA. True. They're sitting on some 600 million or 700 million vaccines. That's 3 times their population. Why?
Right.
They're not fools, no?
True.
If the biggest, most powerful country in the world can hoard vaccines, why can't we?
Why can't we? We should have done that. I agree with you. That's why I said.
Yeah,
that's why. No. Mr. Agarwal, let me finish. Mr. Agarwal, let me finish.
Yeah.
You can come back later. You can come later. What I'm saying is that is true in that sense. But to say that may have been centers a little bit of a lack of, sound judgment in that sense. But to say that now coming to the point, I'm not saying that the BJP is pettifogging Aam Aadmi Party. What the BJP is pointing out is absolutely correct. And I may have voted for BJP, but on certain things BJP is wrong. But here in this case, to say that the Lieutenant Governor is the sole responsible authority is absolutely wrong.
That's illogical. Simply, that doesn't make any sense. I agree with you. 100%. 100%.
Mr. Kejriwal who comes out into the limelight.
100%. If LG is running the affairs in the state, then we should dissolve elections in Delhi. No, why go through the charade? Why go through the charade? Just dissolve the assembly and let the LG only rule. Anyway, I want to leave it at that. But thankfully, one good thing that's happened in this entire charade that's been going on is that the High Court has pulled up the government and said nothing doing. Call back this order, recall this order. Otherwise, we'll be forced to quash it. So I guess better sense has prevailed. Thank you very much, D.K. Giri, Gopal Krishna Agarwal, as well as Swapnil Kothari and Vikas Singh for joining us. As we wrap, though, and we're going to make this a point here on Brass Tacks as well as across our programming here on CNN News 18. As we wrap, we want to also bring in stories of hope, stories of ordinary people who've taken on this extraordinary disease under extraordinary circumstances and come forth and shown the better side of humanity. So we're wrapping with the story here on Brass Tacks, the ongoing Janta curfew in Maharashtra, which has helped bring the daily caseload down, but it's affected daily livelihoods of tens of millions. Thanks to some good Samaritans, though, rations are now reaching those who need it the most. Herman Gomes has his report.
With essential shops open for only a few hours every day in Mumbai, citizens are finding it tough to buy groceries. But a group of good Samaritans are going the extra mile to ensure supplies for the downtrodden. Padma Kapoor is one of them. She gives free groceries to those who need it the most.
As many as possible, frankly. And whatever my pocket can, I can manage, I'm ready to do it. At least if we can give them some nutritious food, if we can provide food to the families whose people have gone into isolation, well, I think these two angles are really, really very important.
With restaurants open only for delivery, owners have to ensure that safety is paramount.
Deliveries, we've been, not now, in fact, it's been from last 1 year that we've been taking protocols, safety protocols like hand sanitization, temperature check, and the packaging, sanitizing the packaging, and checking about 6 feet distance between us and the delivery boys also. So it's been a 1 year total going on till now. It's not a break in between at all.
With essential shops open for only a limited period of time, Good Samaritans are coming forward to ensure that groceries are delivered to the downtrodden. And at the same time, with also a surge being seen in terms of deliveries, restaurants are going all out to ensure that maximum safety is guaranteed. Along with video journalist Rajesh Saple in Mumbai, this is Herman Gomes for CNN News 18.
And finally, as we wrap up, Vedica, a 9-month-old baby, has been diagnosed with spinal muscular atrophy type 1, a serious genetic disorder that usually kills babies before they turn 2. It can only be treated with a 16 crore injection that should be ideally given to her before her first birthday. The family is currently fundraising through Milap, an NGO, and they've already raised 4 crores. Your small contribution can help Vedica get the right cure at the right time. You can donate by visiting milap.org/Vedica. Thanks for your time.